Hi everyone. This tutorial is to show you how to insert or embed files and images that you already have on your computer into a Smart Notebook file so that you can then interact with them with your students. So at the moment I am on this blank main page screen. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down this menu and I'm going to click on the paperclip. When I do that, this is where I can link up those files. At the bottom, you're going to see a little globe, and that's where you can insert hyperlink, or a little paperclip, and that's where you can insert a file. So I'm going to insert a file, and that's going to open up my computer browser where I can select any file that I want. So I'm going to click on this emotions chart and open it. And when I do that, it's going to pop up over here. So it has been sort of inserted into my Smart Notebook file. And then I'm going to grab it and I'm going to drop it right over here on this blank page. And it's going to take a minute to convert it and pop it where I want it. And then exactly the same file that I had opens up over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to that page screen, and you can see it's not quite where I want it. It's not above that blue line. So I'm going to drag it up. Oops. Drag it up a little bit, and I'm going to grab the corner and I'm going to resize it so that I can make it fit properly above that blue line so it doesn't have to be extended. And then I'm actually going to lock it in place as well. So I'm going to do that little arrow lock in place. So now exactly the page that I had on my file before has been embedded here. Now that it's here, now that it exists here, I can interact with it. So I can take a pen, maybe I'm going to pick a purple pen, and I can draw, point to things. I can make a note next to something like lost toy. It's a bit tricky for me to do it on my computer right now because I'm using the mouse instead of the pen, but it would look a bit easier if you're using the pen on your actual smartboard. So you could work with your students and brainstorm times when you might feel these emotions, or whatever you want to do. But because this image now exists here, you can interact with it using the Smart Notebook tools. Okay, so that is one example. Now I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to use this little icon here and I'm going to add a page. This file right here that I inserted was a PDF. Okay, I'm going to do one more PDF. So I'm going to go back to that paperclip and down to the bottom, insert a file. This time I'm going to insert another PDF. This is a social story that I have. And social stories can be great for students to read independently, but it's also great to be able to share them with your class. I'm going to switch back up to my selecting tool. So now I'm going to grab this file and pop it over. This file is a little bit bigger, so it might take longer to pop in. This one has multiple pages. And again, you'll see that the pages appear just as they would in the PDF that I had. Click back over here. And now, if you look down here on this side, you can see all of those pages have appeared. So again, I would go in there and I would click on it and I would use that resizing tool to make sure that it fits in there properly. You'd want to do that with all of your pages, because if it's down in this extended page, it's not necessarily going to show up where you want it when you're showing your students. But you don't have to worry about moving the images, creating the text boxes, anything like that. You've done that already somewhere else, and now you can just embed that file here and you can interact with it here. Or you can just use this as a way to show it to them. If you don't need to interact with it, you can just put it up there and show it to them. All right, so there's another way, well, it's the same way really, to put a PDF in here. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you, I'm going to insert a page again, is how to make it a bit more interactive. A reason you might want to do this maybe during a writing lesson or something like that. I'm going to click on that paperclip, back down here again, insert a file. Now this time I'm going to insert an image. It's going to look the same though, really. Once it pops up and I drag it over, it's going to look the same. Okay, I'm going to come over here And I'm going to grab it and resize it. So let's say you want to work on editing writing with your students, and you want them to be able to see that piece and you want to be able to interact with it. Now this is an image, a photo I took of this piece, but you could easily scan student writing and have that be a PDF. It doesn't really matter. But now that it's here, again, I can interact with it. So let's say I go to the pen and I come over here to this option. Now I don't want to write on it. I'm going to select it, a highlighter. Okay. And now I can look at it with my students and I can say, all right, well, where's the greeting in this letter? And we can highlight the greeting. Or maybe I want my students to be able to recognize where the title of the book is. Well, maybe I'm going to change the highlighter color for this. So I can say, all right, she says, I like the book Meerkat Mail. So we can highlight that right there. Or maybe we want to be able to edit it. Maybe we want to say, hey, she missed some things there. So we're going to go back to a regular pen. And I can work with my students. I can actually hand them the pen and say, all right, let's add punctuation where she missed it. So we could put in a comma where we should have it. We should say, hey, she should have underlined the title of that book. And we need a full stop at the end. We need a comma over here at the closing. So we can edit it together. We could go back in and we could adjust spelling and say, yep, we need to change the spelling of the word jackal. So maybe I can change that to a different color. So then I can write over here on the side how we actually spell jackal. Okay. Now, one really cool thing you can do once you've done this work together with your class is you can save this file. So you could say file, save as, work as a class. You can save this and then you can also print exactly what you've done together. So if you go to print, file, go ahead, file, print. What you've worked on together is going to pop up there. So this is that whole file that we inserted, where you could give your students a copy. Or let's say you wanted them to have this editing work as a reference tool, or you wanted, maybe you worked on one student's piece together as a class and you want to be able to give it back to them. You can print it and it will print everything with those interactive pieces that you've done together. So that's something really cool you can do to make this a really worthwhile activity. So that is how you insert images and PDFs or other types of files into a smart notebook and then turn them into an interactive experience for your kids. So please leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any questions or what you want to learn about next.